languages
and tribes.
Yup.
You know,
Yup.
everyone with his own language.
Recording. Hello, everyone. My name is Taylor Whitelow. I'm with Georgetown University, and we are here today to present our findings for our Hope Worldwide South Africa research project. First, I would like to do introductions. First, Jose, Sarah.
Good morning.
And John.
Hi.
And the first thing that we wanted to address is really what was the big idea that we came away with when we spoke to you all over the last several weeks about what you really wanted out of this research project. And we decided that we wanted to do one slide that just encompasses what we felt like was the goal of this research project. And that goal we felt like was to increase individual donors and revenue in a way that is cost effective and scalable for Hope Worldwide South Africa. But before we go into the recommendations on how we can reach this overarching big idea, we wanted to take an examination of Hope Worldwide currently and the use of Salesforce currently with Hope Worldwide South Africa. And to do that, I will transition over to Jose. Oh, okay.
Good morning. First of all, we're going to do an examination of where we are with in our examination with whole worldwide South Africa. But we analyze the current website, the social media pages, and the campaigns, and the other non-for-profits practices. We found the following problems. First of all, there's no strategy for the website or the social media. We have a complicated donation process. The wire transfers fees are too high at this moment, and there's a lack of individual digital payment system. There are too little users data for attention, and there's no actually use for the Google free ads that they offer for not-for-profit organizations. The solutions that we're gonna provide today are towards, first of all, drive attention to the website and social media. We're gonna improve the way we make donations, recommending a digital payment system that is gonna be easier and cheaper to use. We will recommend a few upgrades into your current CRM system, which is Salesforce. And we're gonna use how to improve our marketing strategy using the free alternatives that we have currently. First of all, let's talk about Salesforce. Salesforce is a cloud computing service that specializes in customer relationship management that help business to track, market, customer activity. They offer a package that is specifically designed to non-for-profit organizations with features like donor and donation management and pre-bill foundation reports. Salesforce give access to the software to up to 10 users for free for qualified charitable organizations, which actually you already qualify for this benefit. The value of these services for Salesforce is about $20,000. There are 3 steps that we should use in a successful deployment of Salesforce for not-for-profits. First of all, is register with Salesforce to receive the free access to the software, which we believe you already did. The second part is downloading the non-profit success package, the NPSP. This is an app available through the Salesforce App Exchange. The NPSP is a free and open source product developed in partnership with Salesforce.org community. It's built specifically with the needs of non-for-profits like yours. And it's going to work in 6 different areas, basically. The first one is going to help you with fundraising. It's going to help you organize your communications, the case management, the volunteer management, the reporting, at the relationship management. Now, what is not included in NPSP program? First of all, they don't have access to the payment processing system. The second part, the email marketing automation, and the third one is the accounting. If you want those features, you need to go to the third step, which is the customization of the sales for your specific needs by downloading those apps from the App Exchange. For example, we will recommend you today to use Classy app for payment processing and fundraising campaigns. This is a good tool to manage online fundraising activities. And because basically they accept donations in 130 different currencies, and you can reach donors in around 190 different countries. We will talk specifically about this Classy app in the upgrade part of our presentation. Now we will have Taylor again with the acquisition part.
All right. So we thought that it was a great idea that we break down our recommendations into a suggested overall strategy that happens in 3 stages. The acquisition stage, the retention stage, and the upgrading stage. And the first step of our recommendation strategy is the acquisition phase. And really the big important thing with the acquisition phase is getting donor data, new donor data, and driving up interest in Hope Worldwide and driving them to the website. So to do that, we really want to suggest that all of your company revamp your social media pages. The way to do that, or the way that we are suggesting to do that, is to post consistently. Most nonprofit organizations that are the best in social media around the world, they post 2 to 3 times a day. Usually those posts are, they deal with world events currently going on that day that they are posting, or holidays like Earth Day that recently just happened. But most importantly, with their social media posts, they want to evoke emotion. A lot of these nonprofit organizations, the best that are out there in social media, they use images that provoke emotion out of the viewer of that post. You'll see a lot of times with Feed the Children, they'll have actual photos of the children that are being provided help by that nonprofit organization. You'll also see photos of volunteers actually in the field, doing the actual hard work that those nonprofits actually do. But the overall goal of the social media strategy is to drive the potential donor to the website. Driving them to the website can capture their data and then turn that data to Salesforce, and then you can go into the other stages of our strategy. One suggestion to help with the social media strategy, this revamping of the social media strategy, is to get a social media intern. Actually, John, one of our teammates, actually worked at a nonprofit organization where he never stepped foot in their offices. So this could be a tremendous opportunity to partner with the university, either here in South Africa or even in the United States, to get interns that are undergraduates in marketing to help you come up with unique and engaging ideas and posts for your social media platforms. And then moving forward, once you really get your follower counts up, get your engagement up, the pie in the sky idea is to really get celebrities to engage or promote your social media pages. So one example is Trevor Noah, who is a famous South African. If you get your social media numbers up, you may want to send him a free t-shirt or a hat and have him take a picture of it and post it on his social media page. That kind of cross-platform or, cross-promotion can really, really help drive up your follower counts, and in turn, really help you with getting that potential new donor and turning them into a reoccurring donor. What I wanted to do with this slide here is to show you 2 examples of what I mean by staying up with current events and also provoking emotion in your social media post. On the left here, we have Susan G. Komen Foundation. And this is dealing with recently in the United States, it was National Sibling Day. So Susan G. Komen Foundation actually thought of, posting a photo of Miss Coleman and I guess that's her sister, Mrs. Blinker, here just showing about National Sibling Day. And one of the important things that I also want to point out here is that they also utilize hashtags. Hashtags are really important in driving people who aren't currently following you to your page. So one thing that we want to suggest is really keying in on local or national current events or days like this, and really using those hashtags when you make a post. And secondly, on the right here, we have UNICEF in a post that they recently made on their Facebook page. And this is a clear example of what I mean by provoking emotion. You have a young girl here that is directly affected positively by UNICEF's work. And you see her actually smiling and, drawing a picture while her brother behind her is providing her with some colored pencils. And actually the quote above is from her, just stating, how UNICEF has helped her dream bigger than, her own circumstances currently. So again, this is a great example of how you can use a post to provoke emotion and then drive that potential donor to your website. Secondly, what I wanted to do here is point out the good that Hope Worldwide South Africa is doing with their Instagram social media pages and places where they need improvement. On the left is a perfect example of the right way of posting on your Instagram page. So on the left, you have a volunteer with a family, the volunteer smiling with the family, and then the actual quote from the volunteers that were actually on the ground. This is a perfect example, again, of provoking emotion, which will help in trying to drive people to your website. And then on the right, you have a place of improvement. Now, you did a great job of using current events. This post is actually in relation to Orange Day, which is a local holiday here in South Africa. But the one thing you need to improve on is, if you see inside this circle, the red circle here, that is the last post that you have made on your Instagram page, July the 25th, 2018. That's nearly 6 to 7 months ago. Again, this is going back to our point of posting consistently. That is the way that you can really get your followers up, get the number of engagements up, and then in turn have the increased potential of new donors coming in. Also, another thing that we wanted to provide to you was a mock Instagram page. So we actually went in and created a fake or mock Instagram page that is basically locked off right now, that just provides or shows examples of how you can do your own post here. So on the left, you have a post that again provokes emotion, shows the kids out in the field that are actually being affected by your work. And again, you'll notice the hashtags at the bottom that are being used. And then on the right, again, you have another post here that provokes emotion. Really, with the Instagram page, we wanted to just give you, give Hope, an example to really follow, or, a template to follow when you're making these posts. And also the Instagram page can be used as almost a test group for any posts or videos that you may want to do. I've actually provided in the speaker slides or the speaker notes the login and password to that, so that you can use that moving forward. And then the second step within the acquisition phase is actually acquiring donor data. So donor data can be acquired in several different ways. You can acquire data from the main office or the global office. You can also purchase it from commercial data companies like Exact Data. Exact Data actually provides, their customers with demographic specific data. So that can actually go into your strategy with what type of donor do you want to target? Do you want to target a more younger demographic of potential new donors, or do you want to, tackle or go after donors that are more established, older in age, that have had previous experiences donating to other nonprofit organizations? And another way of capturing data from potential new donors is actually having a pop-up window on your site, on the main page of your site, that promotes the user to actually put in their email address. So at the top here, we have a example of what that pop-up box would actually look like when you show up on the website. Then what you actually do with that data is you will feed it into Salesforce, and then download apps like MailChimp or iContact to start an email marketing campaign. So with that, you can actually take that data, really crank up your email marketing campaign, and then with those emails, you want to drive them to the actual website so that they can then in turn donate, and then actually turn them into not only one-time donors, but then reoccurring donors. And then lastly, we're suggesting that, you revamp your website so that the donation page and the emotional stories are easier to access and are higher up on your main page, so that it's easier for potential new donors to actually follow through and make that donation. I've actually included on the opinion slides 46 and 47, very detailed explanation on how that revamp should go. So I wanted to provide this slide here just to wrap up and show you the importance of why we keep emphasizing driving users to the website with everything that we're suggesting in this first acquisition stage. And as you can see here, this is actually from H&R Benchmarks in the United States. They are a company that does research on nonprofit organizations around the world. And they provide this information to nonprofits to show basically how they're doing against other nonprofits around the world. And here's a chart here showing that international nonprofits, which you would be classified here in this study, that 3.2% of website visitors actually turn around and make a donation. That may not sound like a lot from a percentage standpoint, but as you can see, comparing yourselves to other nonprofits around the world, you're doing very, very well compared to those. So again, this chart is showing why it is very, very, very important that with any marketing strategy that you do, you drive them to the website. And now I'll pass it over to John for the retention stage.
Thank you. So for our retention strategy, we're going to be focusing on 3 key areas. The first is on donor engagement plans. We're going to explore ways to make the most of the Salesforce capabilities that are already available to you through the Nonprofit Success Package, but are currently being underutilized. These will allow you to easily customize engagement plans for individual donors and follow up with them. Next, we'll focus on the follow-up itself, how to nurture relationships with donors effectively to maximize donor satisfaction, including keeping donors updated on what their money is doing and providing them with the emotional narrative through newsletters, emails, social media, and other correspondence. Finally, we'll discuss how to incentivize monthly donors to continue their commitment through creating extra value for recurring donors, namely using a tiered rewards program exclusive to recurring donors. A huge issue at the moment is that the Salesforce and Nonprofit Success Package, which is available to you, is not being used to its fullest potential. It provides free ways to optimize donor retention, and it allows you to maintain data on donors and leads and to create engagement plans for them. So let's talk about how the Nonprofit Success Package can help Hope Worldwide South Africa. Firstly, it will be crucial to make sure info on donors is collected and maintained in Salesforce records. And here we have an example of a donor record which can be selected from the Contacts tab. Here, Salesforce will keep track of helpful info such as when a donor has made a donation, how much the donation was for, any active recurring donations they have committed to, their contact information, their interests, and it most importantly allows users to create a customized engagement plan. So now I'll direct your attention to the Activities tab on the right hand of the screen. Here you can see a summary of past engagements, log any calls, and see a schedule of the next steps. So if you go ahead and select the New Task tab, under this tab, you can schedule an engagement with this donor. For example, which we have here, it would be a call. So we can give the task a due date, and we can link it or relate it to a particular event, such as a specific donation. We can assign the task to ourselves or to another individual in the organization. And then when it's saved, it will appear under the next steps. And next to this tab, you'll see the Email tab. And going to this one, you see that you are able to actually send an email directly from Salesforce. And what's really cool is that you can even populate the email automatically with a pre-prepared template. And when sent, the email will be logged under the Activities tab. And now, moving on to the really, really exciting part, which is the donor engagement plan templates. And these can be found through the app launcher. And here you'll see where Salesforce keeps a track of all of the templates that have already been created. So let's take a look at what this actually means. An engagement plan is basically just a series of tasks. And an engagement plan template is a repeatable series of tasks that can be applied to a contact. So when you create a new engagement plan template, as you can see, simply give it a name, give it a description, and then you can easily add all of the tasks that you'd like to be associated with this plan. And back in the donor record, you can assign the engagement plan record to the donor. And when it's saved, the activities in the plan will automatically be populated in the donor's activities timeline. So it becomes an extremely important tool for following up and summarizing your interactions with the contact. And back on the Home tab, another helpful feature is that the tasks will be laid out and can even be filtered by, what's overdue, by the day, coming up within the next week, or even the next month. And all of the stills in this presentation were pulled from Salesforce tutorials, and the links to those will be provided to you. Next, we can take a look at what a donor retention plan would actually entail. We believe that it will be extremely helpful to devise a tiered system to segment monthly donors and keep them happy with different rewards. Having a clear tier system will make a useful roadmap for creating engagement plans for following up in Salesforce. Here we have a graphic from the Hope Worldwide website, and we believe that they have a great example of a tiered system. Because here you can see joining the community of Hope brings monthly donors into an exclusive group. The extra value of becoming a monthly donor is clearly explained and easy for donors to understand. We have customized the tier system to give an idea of how Hope South Africa's could be broken down. So we're going to just establish some donor tiers based on monthly payments. Based on donation level, the amounts have been left open-ended for your discretion. And we believe it would be good to aim for about 3 to 4 levels and have different rewards based on each level. And here we have some potential ideas for what rewards could be offered. On the lower levels, we'll offer membership in the rewards program and a newsletter because members at any level are going to be interested in exactly what their money is doing. It will be a great way to keep them updated. Moving up, we can add in things like merchandise, which would include apparel and gifts like t-shirts, bracelets, and to give to donors as a thank you whenever possible. And then moving on to the next stage, we can add in things such as social media shout-outs, mentioning donors on Instagram, Facebook, and other outlets. And then finally, at the very top level, we would have a very special incentive, which would be sponsoring a home visitor, which would entail a visitor, visiting a family and tracking the family and providing updates. And just some additional thoughts on that, on the retention strategy. We can also include special events when possible for local donors, and just for high-level local donors. And this can be simple, such as awards, ceremonies, dinners, happy hours, things like that, just to engage with the community, which can also be very low cost and very simple. For example, where I work currently, we have simple happy hours with just a case of wine, and everybody's invited to just come to our office for, just maybe $50, and everybody can have a cocktail, get to meet everybody in the organization, ask questions, really engage, and it's a fun, low-cost event, and things like that are really appreciated, and I think, are a great way to keep everybody involved, updated, and engaged. And then we'll talk about how it's important to personalize your correspondence with donors, and this can be done by sending pictures, videos, making phone calls, and making sure to be in email contact with high-level donors. And we have pulled some examples of what would make an effective sample appreciation email. And so these have been pulled from Charity Water. And the reason that we like these so much is because they hit on a few key points. First of all, they say thank you, which is important. They can be personalized, as you see, where there's a video included in lane into the video. They're very visual with the pictures, the video, and importantly, they highlight the impact. As you can see, they give just a quick blurb about, there's been 1.7 million raised, which translates to 26,000 people in Rwanda soon being able to drink clean water. So, highlighting the impact is a very powerful tool. And most importantly, it provides a link to the website, which is kind of an overarching goal. And remember, always ask for more money anytime that you're reaching out to the donors. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Sarah, who's going to be going over our upgrading strategy.
Perfect. Thanks, John. So the last step of our kind of three-stage process here is upgrading. What we're going to talk about here is once we have these active, captivated donors that they've already donated, they've already shown interest in this cause in Hope Worldwide South Africa. How do we monopolize on their interest level, and how do we increase revenue from those existing donors? So I'm going to cover three basic topics here. The first is turning a one-time donor into a recurring donor. The second is the corporate matching opportunity. So this is free money. And the last is how do you take a recurring donor and turn them into a volunteer, which we're calling Ambassadors for Hope. So the first is turning a one-time donor into a recurring donor. So this would be in addition to John's comments about a basic monthly donor. So I'm proposing that we revamp Heroes for Hope. So this I'm picturing as a tab directly on the home page. That's why I kind of used your home page orange and white colors here, where you would see a tab that says Heroes for Hope. Could click right on it. This is essentially what I'm picturing the page to look like. So you have the opportunity to sponsor a teacher, sponsor a child, sponsor a family, and sponsor a center. So we chose these four categories. We thought they accurately reflected your mission. I took images and some of these testimonials that in my opinion are a little bit hidden on your website and brought them right to the forefront. I think ideally what it would be nice would be to have each one of those categories would have a photo, and then sort of it would scroll through photos, testimonials. Those are just what were available, so that's what I use for now. Then I would envision all of those rectangles that say sponsor a teacher would actually be links, and you could click on it. It would go directly to details on how to sponsor a teacher, a child, a family, a center. So essentially, I would imagine that within each of those categories, you could kind of also go back to what John was saying and have it be tiered. You know, you could sponsor a child at the lowest tier, or you could sponsor everything it takes to educate a child for an entire year. And I think in order to target your sponsors most efficiently, that's also, you'll go back to Salesforce. You'll see, hey, this person donated $200 last year, and it cost $250 to educate a child for a year. They are the perfect target. I'm going to send them an email and ask them to sponsor a child. So again, if you have that information in Salesforce, if you have all that history, it'll help you most effectively target the right people, and hopefully get them to push a little bit higher than they did before. And also, you know, as Taylor mentioned, as John mentioned, really as everyone's kind of driving home, our opinion is that this structure for the program also really emphasizes the emotional element. It's a lot easier to say yes to $200 a year if you know, hey, that's all it takes, and I can educate a child, rather than $200 in the abstract. So the next thing I have here is, this is an example from Habitat for Humanity. So this kind of ties in with what John is saying. This would be an example follow-up email that specifically targets an upgrade. So they're saying flat out in this email, hey, you donated once, how about you become a monthly donor? Or you donated, another example might be, you donated $100. Why don't you think about donating $10 every month, which will in the long run equate to even more than $100. What's important to note here is, again, as John mentioned, it does thank them. It tells them what they already did, but it tells them just a little bit more what it could do. In particular, I liked about this one is that it has clear information in bullet points. Your eye goes right to it, explicit, what you get, what it'll go to. The only improvement that I would suggest, and I think that we've all kind of driven home, is I think there should be clear links, which it might be in the subtext of this email that I just couldn't get online, but there should be clear links to the website, frankly, a tab that just says donate, or a button that just says donate, links to all the social media pages, which really should be on any correspondence that's going out. But yeah, so that, and then, so the next thing, once you have, a single donor going to recurring donations, or upgrading their amount, the next opportunity that we wanted to bring to the table is this idea of corporate matching. So my focus and our focus really on this opportunity was US based. That's really where our knowledge best is. So before we really get into the details, knowing that this is US based, all the donations most likely will have to go through Hope Worldwide with the designation of going to South Africa. Most of these corporations, or all of them, are going to require the 501c designation, which your home office does have. So just bear that in mind kind of for the next few slides. So the one company that I have here, so this is Cybergrants. I pulled off their website. They've raised, just since January of 2018, almost $7.3 billion, or they've donated. So now a lot of that, to be fair, is going towards major kind of natural disaster events that have happened. However, that clearly shows the willingness of corporations to donate and how much this company in particular is donating. So I highlighted a few things here off their website, the two that I thought were the most applicable to Hope Worldwide South Africa. The first is a payroll deduction. So what Cybergrants does is they engage with clients, aka US corporations, and they will work with them to facilitate direct deductions from employees' payroll to go to a nonprofit of that employee's choosing. So could not be any easier. And you know, the donor doesn't have to do anything every week. It automatically comes out. And then obviously whatever they then donate, that company will have either a 1-to-1 match, 1-to-2. I've seen on their website as high as 1-to-3 ratio of donation. So even if you only have somebody donating $10, translating to 30 from their company, so you're getting $40, and only 10 of it's coming from that donor. So there's a lot of potential value here. Like I said, the matching gift. So like they're promoting, it amplifies employee engagement. You know, you can turn $10 into 40 with very little effort. So an example just of Cyber Grants in particular, they have a wide range of firms. So you have GE, Verizon, Target, Walmart, Ocean Spray, and the list goes on and on. I mean, all of these huge companies, tons of available money, tons of employees. If you think about how many employees, I mean, they just this one, they have over 50% of the Fortune 100, plus many, many, many more. But I just really wanted to drive home the number of employees we're talking about between all of these companies, the amount of money we're talking about between all these companies. It's a really big opportunity. So really what this means for Hope Worldwide South Africa, again, it goes back to the engagement plans. So what I would propose is you keep a list of participating firms. So for example, Cyber Grants, you would not engage directly with Cyber Grants. They engage with the corporations. Cyber Grants is one that I just use as an example for right now. You would not have to hire them. You don't have to pay them. They're doing the heavy lifting. However, this would require that when you're getting donor information, you're also getting employment information. If you know, so for example, you get the donor information. If you see, oh, Sarah Gates just donated $10, she's an employee at Target, that will automatically trigger a specific engagement plan for a donor who's on a list of participating firms. So then that would trigger a specific email, phone call, both to get them aware of the fact that their company uses Cyber Grants and to increase that donation. So basically what you could say is you tell them your company will triple match what donation is that you just made. All you have to do is fill out a form and Cyber Grants does the rest. For now, like I said, I've proposed just throwing out Cyber Grants. There are other companies that can actually be more directly integrated with your website. However, they are at a cost. So my thought is that for now, it's going to be more work intensive, maintaining lists, reaching out to people. However, once your donor base is increased and you're seeing more revenue from corporate matching, there are other opportunities to make it easier on everyone that come at a cost. So that's kind of a future plan that you can think about, adding that feature directly to your website. Financially, I didn't think it made sense at this moment to make that recommendation, but I just wanted to make you aware of that. So the last kind of stage of that corporate program as well is that some of these larger corporations also have grant opportunities. For example, Jose works for Bank of America, and he said they even offer a grant up to $50,000 for one individual nonprofit. So that's another awesome opportunity. If you reach out to that donor, you engage with them and work with them to apply for that grant, then that's really where some of this money could come from, especially with these large corporations. I'm sure that between all of those companies in the Fortune 100, I feel strongly that a lot of them have those grant opportunities. So that's really where these employees, they can really become tools, people on the ground working for you to get these high-level donations. So then lastly, is kind of a different track of upgrading, but that is turning donors into volunteers. So this, again, you can use your data in Salesforce to target specific demographics of people whom would make ideal volunteer candidates. So whether it be once they hit a certain donation level in terms of dollars, they are invited to volunteer in country, or whether they're in that millennial demographic who studies have shown are the most likely to be socially engaged in some of these causes. And so this is where you can really target these people. For example, like you said, use social media, increase their interest, use Salesforce, make them aware of different volunteer opportunities, whether it be on site or like I mentioned, just with cyber grants. Hey, this is something you can do in country, but will make a big difference. And then lastly, there's also kind of a type of volunteering, but doing, birthday donation opportunities in lieu of gifts. This kind of ties in with what Taylor said with social media. Every day on social media, I see someone requesting a donation to a certain cause in lieu of, gifts or birthday wishes. Another kind of volunteer that's just fundraising is crowdfunding and peer-to-peer, which has become a really popular source of marketing and of a donation strategy that's a little more labor intensive on the donor. But if you target them properly, I think you could see good feedback. So now that we've gone through our acquisition, retention, upgrading strategy, I'm going to turn it back over to Taylor to get into what this really looks like for Hope South Africa.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. What we wanted to do here is actually put, numbers towards our recommendations. As you know, we are finance-oriented people, so we felt that it was best for us to also have a financial model that actually projects out what we believe, if you implement these recommendations, what your projected profit will be in the future. So after the recommendations were accounted for, putting in those assumptions, we believe that if you do implement these recommendations by 2023, your fiscal year 2023, you're projected to have a profit of around $2.348 million. Now, that number is high, seems high, but we have created a financial model that is flexible enough to provide you with the control of putting in assumptions for anything that you want. Let me go actually and walk you through a little bit of this financial model itself. Pardon me while I get it uploaded at this point. All right, so we have our projected income statement here. You were able to provide us with financial data from FY 2014 to FY 2017. So what we had to do here was basically offer growth projections for each line of your income statement. We projected out what we believe will be your income statement here for 2018. We actually have a tab here showing your average growth from 2014, 2015 to 2016 and 2017, averaging that growth, and then whatever the growth assumption is. The assumption growth column is where if you wanted to change what your projection would be, you can change that in that column as well. Then moving forward, we have assumptions for FY 19 through FY 23 tab. And as you can see all the way on the left here, we actually have a breakout here of the actual new revenue that you would get and cost per recommendations for 2019, just so that you can see that split out. And then everything here in the center column in column O that has assumptions for recommendations that is in black type are assumptions that you can actually change. So everything from the cost of what Classy would be, or the cost of what eye contact would be, your assumptions on how much you would get additionally for the cyber grants, things of that nature. Every assumption that we have here, every recommendation, that we have here has a corresponding assumption associated with it that you can change. And then lastly, we have a column here all the way on the right that is growth assumptions for your already pre-existing programs that you have going. So all of this can be changed. All of these assumptions that are in black can be changed according to how you see the future for yourself. And with that, we are opening up to any questions you may have.